Professor Willow here, coming to you with another matchup mastery for the SILPH League Arena February Rose Cup. Today we're going to be going over an especially spicy pick, that of the poison grass type Vileplume, who is got some amazing matchups, guys. Hopefully after today we'll be able to take away what we need to be either able to adequately add Vileplume to your team and understand its coverage, or be able to respond to an opposing Vileplume on your opponent's team. So let's get started. First and foremost, again, need to take a minute to give a quick shout out to our main contributor for today's episode. El Show to Jason ran all of the simulations for today's matchups and correlations. So if you could, go over to Twitter, Reddit, or Instagram, give that guy a like and a follow. This guy is awesome, just absolutely amazing with throwing together great little graphics like this for me to be able to help break down and give to you guys. So without further ado, let's go on over to PvPoke and see what we can find out about Vileplume. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and denote that we're going to look for Rose Cup. We're going to type in Vileplume, and Vileplume is number 32. It's got the access to Razor Leaf, Acid, Sludge Bomb, Petal Blizzard, Frustration, Moonblast, and Solar Beam. But as we're going to see here in the future, Razor Leaf is going to be the fast move that we're going to be running to run. Sludge Bomb is your #1 move of choice on this girl. And third, it was going to be Petal Blizzard for a quick KO on those tanks. Its key matchups are going to be against Scrafty, Machamp, Wigglytuff, Clefable, and Medicham. And its top counters are going to be, of course, Lydian, Skarmory, Golbat, Crobat, and Wormadam. And we'll get into a little bit more detail further on as we jump into the matchup mastery. So first, let's look at Vileplume. For optimal results, we're going to be looking at statistical renderings that are based off of its attack having a stat product of 131, defense having a stat product of 114, and also stamina having the same stat product of 114 as well. The 100% PvP IV Vileplume is going to be a 0-15-15. Vileplume is going to be 2 times resistant to grass. Electric, water, fairy, and fighting is going to single resist, and it is going to be weak to fire, flying, psychic, and ice type moves. So let's jump right into the matchup mastery. This first category we'll be looking at is what Professor Willow considers Farmville. You don't have to invest a shield. You don't have to invest a charge move. You can just sit there and throw Razor Leaf all day, and Wigglytuff is 100% a hard counter to these next Pokemon. So to explain kind of the science behind all of this, from left to right, E is going to be the energy retained by Vileplume at the end of the matchup. HP is going to be her health. Immediately to the middle is going to be the overall battle rating based off of charge moves, blocking specific baits, and or any other special conditions that we'll note later on within the matchup mastery. And immediately to the right is going to be Professor Willow's tip of the day, and like I said, for this first category, it's going to be Farmville, Farmville, Farmville. So next we're going to look at Rhydon. Not doing too well with Vileplume as well. It's going to leave Vileplume retaining 20 energy and health of 84 with an overall matchup of 868. Once again, guys, this is a 100% farmable matchup, just like this next Rhino boy, our Rhyperior. Rhyperior is going to be leaving Vileplume similarly with 20 energy and 81 HP with an overall battle rating of 855. That's Vileplume to Rhyperior, not Rhyperior to Vileplume. Next, let's look at the fairies, 100% farmable as well. With Clefable, Vileplume is going to be coming away with 52 energy and 42 HP. And with an overall battle rating of 684, this is still 100% a farmable matchup, guys. Just throw Razor Leafs and get the rewards on the back end. That's all I can say. Wigglytuff is going to be similar again. You're going to be receiving 91 energy and 29 HP with an overall battle rating of 605, and this is going to be the last of our farmable matchups. Our next category is going to be the Pokemon in the meta that you're going to have to invest at least one shield, and we'll slowly start to see the matchups go more into the favor of the opposing Pokemon as opposed to Vileplume the further and further we get into the matchup mastery. So let's get into our next category, which I'm going to call our one shield wonders, meaning that we still only have to invest one shield to be able to dominate the matchup. First off is Machamp, who's going to leave us, as long as we invest that one shield, with 44 energy and 63 HP, with an overall battle rating of 776. Once again, guys, we want to shield the Rock Slide in this matchup. Those fighting type moves are not going to be doing Vileplume much damage unless it is a close combat, in which case that could be a potential major health loss for Vileplume. The next matchup is going to be Licky, who's going to be leaving us with 64 energy and 51 HP, with an overall battle rating of 714. Next matchup is going to be Sableye, and Sableye, I have personally been on the receiving end of a Vileplume while being locked in with a Sableye. Razor Leaf absolutely chunks a Sableye, and it is not great. The Vileplume has to block the Ancient Power, I want to say, Power Gem, the Power Gem in that matchup to be able to survive. And it's still going to come out with an overall battle rating of 706, so make sure that you block that Power Gem, and you should be successful with the remainder of the matchup. The next matchup is interesting because it actually depends on the moveset that you use, so let's pop back over to PvPoke to see the Scrafty versus Vileplume matchups. So we're going to go up here to our battle category. We're going to do Scrafty. And we're also going to look at Vileplume. Okay, so if we look over here at Scrafty, we can either run Counter or Snarl, or we can run Power Up Punch, Acid Spray, and Foul Play. Now, I don't believe there's any recommendation for running Acid Spray, as you already have Power Up Punch, which is also a shield baiting mechanism. So Power Up Punch in this case allows you to ramp up the damage of your Foul Play significantly as the match progresses, to where even if it only does neutral damage to the opposing Pokemon, it's going to be doing quite a bit of neutral damage to that Pokemon and ending up siding matches with Scrafty. So Counter is being run for Scrafty being more of an anti-tank agent, because the Snarl isn't going to be doing too much to our tanks in this meta. So let's look at what the Counter variant is going to do with the matchup in Vileplume. So we look at this, and we see that Vileplume remains with 38 HP and 10 energy with this matchup. And remember, guys, we're only investing one shield in this, and it looks like they invested on the second Power-Up Punch that comes through, meaning that the Scrafty in this scenario is trying to rely on the counter damage as opposed to going for the Foul Play. So moving on forward, if we take a look at the Snarl variant, which is going to allow Scrafty to get to those moves quite a bit quicker, we see that we end up with 60 energy as opposed to our previous result, and 10 energy at the end of the day. So it looks like the counter variant is going to be at least better for Scrafty in this case, as to losing eloquently, than the Snarl variant. But popping back in, overall, we have a 513 or a 666 incredibly metal battle rating. So it's going to depend on the charge move, but either way, you still come out on top. Just shield once. Next is going to be Magneton, who's going to leave us with 56 energy, 20 HP, and an overall battle rating of 824. Just need to shield once. Magcargo is similar in nature. Now, Magcargo's fast type moves of, I believe it's Rock Throw or Smackdown, is going to be hurting quite a bit to Vileplume with that rock damage. But the key here is Magcargo takes quite a bit of time to get to its charge moves, so as long as you play out the matchup, play smart PvP, and shield that charge move, you should be fine moving forward and dominating that matchup. Last one of our One Shield Wonder category is going to be Medicham, and these stats are ran off of the Ice Punch Dynamic Punch counter version. The energy we should retain at the end of the matchup is 56 with 22 health. We can take one Ice Punch. I highly suggest that you block the first one, which will allow you to have ample room to be able to continue to chunk away at this Medicham with the Razor Leaf and be able to adequately finish out the matchup by tanking one Ice Punch and ending the match with 22 health. This next category is going to be considered IV dependent wins, meaning that for Vileplume's opponents, they have to have incredible PvP IVs to even be able to hold a candle and survive with minimal HP at all. Steelix, being in particular, has to go up all the way to an Earthquake and bait with Crunch and have a successful bait to be able to come in the back end and land the Earthquake to survive with a whopping 1 HP. And the other thing, in that matchup, in the miracle situation where Steelix wins, also Vileplume can't throw a charge move. However, if in normal scenarios, Vileplume can charge all the way up to a Petal Blizzard, throw a Sludge Bomb, and then Razor Leaf down to end the matchup with 8 HP and an overall battle rating of 526. So shield once. If you've got excellent Vileplume PvP IVs, then you're going to be successful. If the Steelix ends up having better, then lose gracefully in that scenario. The next contender is another personal favorite of mine, Haunter. And in Haunter's case, once again, Vileplume can't throw any charge moves, and in that case, it has to have maximized stats to be able to throw, I believe it's 2 sequential Shadow Punches to be able to finish out the matchup. Our next matchup is 100% IV dependent. However, if Gligar and Vileplume are 100% maxed out PvP IVs, it should be a simultaneous KO. Perfect 50-50 down the line. But that's dependent on Gligar running Night Slash, Fury Cutter, and Dig, as opposed to Night Slash, Fury Cutter, and Aerial Ace. If it is running Aerial Ace, it will end the matchup, I believe, with 7 HP and 32 energy, and Vileplume falls quite easily to this flying little scorpion, and it's not going to be a good day. So try to read your matchups in this case, because the moveset on Gligar in this matchup is going to be 100% paramount to your success in this. In the end, this is one where, since it's such a close matchup, it's going to be dependent on how the round is played out between you and your opponent. This doesn't tend to lead in Vileplume's favor, as I've seen in the simulations, and this is one where you may need to try to, how are they phrasing it these days, lose gracefully, to ensure that the next Pokemon that comes in after Vileplume can clean up with Gligar, maybe a Charizard or a Skarmory or Drifblim, and be able to farm up that last little bit of energy and move on and continue to dominate the match. This next matchup we're going to be looking at with Gliscor is going to be bait dependent, meaning that Gliscor has to land the Earthquake to be able to KO Vileplume. And in this case, What usually happens is that they'll charge up to an earthquake, throw the Night Slash, and still have enough energy to be able to get to that earthquake before you're able to KO it with Razor Leaves or Sludge Bomb. So, it's been in my experience that I don't block the first charge move, but then again, I don't see too many people running Vileplume in such an, Gliscor in such an aggressive manner that they throw the Earthquake first. However, Gliscor users are like Azumarill users. They love that Pokemon and love those matchups inside and out. So, it's all going to be dependent on the familiarity of your opponent with Gliscor's matchups, your familiarity running Vileplume against Gliscor in your area, and whether or not you think the person on the other side of the table from you or back to back to you is going to be aggressive and risk it for the biscuit and throw that Earthquake first, or are they baiting you with Night Slash? So, remember, if you don't block the Earthquake, if they bait you with that Night Slash, it's over. They will get to that Earthquake afterwards because they'll have plenty of energy, and Fury Cutter is going to be doing some decent damage to Vileplume, is little incremental chip damage. So, play smart PvP, guys. Understand where you're at in the match, as well as what could possibly be in the back of for your opponent. And from there, as long as you invest a shield, this is a potentially winnable matchup. You just have to play, like I said, smart PvP. This next category of Pokemon are going to be our close losses. Vileplume puts up an excellent fight, but still can't claim the KO at the end of the match. So, let's look at some of the battle ratings. First, for Probopass, we're going to come out with a 483. Now, that doesn't mean that Probopass gets to get away unscathed. He's going to only have 9 HP at the end of the round. So this is going to be another one of those matchups where lose gracefully. Have something in the back that can come in and clean up Probopass for that last little bit of energy and have a good look and a better opportunity at the next Mon that comes out to you. Blaziken is a similar close loss with a battle rating of 452, and Blaziken's only going to be able to salvage 11 HP at the end of the day. So these are hard-fought battles. So once again, play smart PvP. Don't panic whenever you're in these matchups, and lose gracefully, as we've been saying, to make sure that you can have something that can clean up in the back end, and you should still be able to have a dominant presence within the match. This last category are Vileplume's hard counters. So, to give you some context, these guys get to farm Vileplume like Vileplume got to farm our first category. They include Skarmory, Golbat, Drapion, Charizard, Drifblim, and Alolan Marowak, and none of these matches are pretty for Vileplume. So, if you're locked in, I don't advise putting up a shield due to the fact of your farmability for them. If you do have the ability to switch, if the switch clock is ready for you, go ahead and swap into your safe swap or to a soft counter to be able to win the matchup, provided that they're not also able to swap as well. But either way, for these 6 Pokemon right here, it is not good for Vileplume to be in the same matchup with them. Alright, battlers, that's going to conclude our matchup mastery for today with Vileplume. If you like the content, go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe, and notification bell. That way you can always be at the forefront of the latest and greatest PvP knowledge from yours truly, Professor Willow. Thanks for stopping in, guys. 'Cause there's too much.